The colony on Proxima b had thrived for 30 years. Nestled in the habitable zone of Earth's closest stellar neighbor, New Haven was humanity's greatest achievement until the Krell arrived. Admiral James Turner watched the emergency transmission for the 5th time, his weathered face illuminated by the holographic display aboard the EDF Retribution. "This is Governor Wilson of New Haven Colony. We are under attack by an unknown alien force. They appeared without warning 3 days ago. Our defenses are failing. Thousands dead. They're harvesting us. I repeat, this is a priority Alpha distress call. We need immediate military intervention. Please, Earth, anyone, help us." The transmission cut to static-filled footage. Massive obsidian ships hovering over burning settlements, strange bipedal creatures dragging colonists into transport vessels. The recording ended with a woman's scream. "How long until we reach Proxima Centauri?" Turner asked, his voice unnaturally calm. 17 hours, sir," Lieutenant Anna Reeves replied. "We're pushing the FTL drives to their limits." Turner nodded. The Retribution led humanity's first military response fleet, 26 warships carrying Earth's finest soldiers and most devastating weapons. For decades, humanity had wondered if they were alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, delivered in the most horrific way possible. "Status on the other colonies?" Turner asked. Commander Mark Wells brought up a tactical display. "Still no word from Taylor's World or New Eden. We have to assume they've been hit too." Turner's jaw clenched. 3 human colonies, tens of thousands of civilians, all potentially harvested like cattle. The thought made his blood boil. "Update from intelligence, sir," Reeves said, her voice tight. "Analysis of the governor's transmission suggests these Krell are using human captives for biological experimentation. They're extracting something from our people." The bridge fell silent. The Krell had made a critical mistake. They had assumed that humans were merely another species to be harvested and studied. They hadn't realized they were poking a slumbering giant. Captain Thomas Moore approached Turner's side. "Sir, preliminary scans indicate at least 30 Krell vessels in orbit around Proxima b. We're outnumbered." Turner's expression hardened. "Numbers aren't everything, Captain. Humanity spent centuries fighting itself before we reached the stars. War is in our blood." "Admiral," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving another transmission from New Haven. It's badly degraded, but—" A garbled voice filled the bridge. "Still fighting. Resistance cells formed. They're taking people to the central processing facility. Please hurry." Turner turned to his senior officers. "The colonists are still fighting. After 3 days of hell, they're still standing their ground." Pride swelled in his chest. "Prepare all combat teams. I want every soldier, mech suit, and drone ready for deployment. We hit them hard and fast." The next hours passed in a blur of tactical planning and weapons preparation. The fleet's AI, Athena, analyzed the limited data on Krell biology and technology, identifying potential weaknesses. Their ships appear to use an organic-synthetic hybrid technology, Athena reported. Targeted electromagnetic pulses may disrupt their systems without harming human captives. As the Retribution hurtled through space, medical teams prepared for mass casualties. Marine squads checked their powered armor and pulse rifles. Special forces units calibrated their stealth systems. In his quarters, Turner studied the faces of the New Haven colonists from before the attack. Farmers, teachers, children. Ordinary people who had sought a new life among the stars. People who now depended on him. "Sir," his comm unit chimed, "we're approaching Proxima Centauri system, exiting FTL in 2 minutes." Turner straightened his uniform and headed for the bridge. The time for planning was over. Now came the fury. "All hands to battle stations," he ordered as he strode onto the bridge. The Krell wanted to see what humans are made of. Let's show them. The fleet dropped out of FTL in perfect formation, immediately detecting the alien armada orbiting the colony world. "Open a channel to all ships," Turner commanded. When the comms officer nodded, he spoke with deadly certainty. "This is Admiral James Turner of the Earth Defense Force. Commence Operation Retribution." The Krell responded exactly as Admiral Turner expected, with overwhelming force and absolute confidence. Their massive obsidian vessels reoriented toward the human fleet, weapon systems glowing with eldritch energy. "They're powering up something big," Lieutenant Reeves reported, eyes fixed on her scanner. "Energy readings off the charts." "Evasive maneuvers," Turner ordered calmly. "Deploy countermeasures and prep hammer missiles." The human fleet scattered like startled birds as brilliant purple beams lanced through space where they had been moments before. The Krell weapons were devastating but predictable, designed to annihilate stationary targets or slower species. Humanity had spent millennia perfecting the art of not being where the enemy expected. "Hammer missiles away," Captain Moore announced. Dozens of high-acceleration, multi-munition electronic reaction missiles streaked toward the Krell fleet. The aliens intercepted many with point defense systems, but enough got through. The specially designed warheads detonated, releasing concentrated electromagnetic pulses calibrated to the Krell's biosynthetic technology. 3 enemy ships immediately went dark, drifting helplessly in orbit. The others seemed to shudder, their weapon systems flickering. "Direct hit," Moore exclaimed. "Their systems are vulnerable to the EMPs." Turner nodded grimly. "Launch the Wraiths." From the belly of the Retribution and its sister ships, hundreds of small stealth craft deployed, their advanced cloaking technology making them nearly invisible against the backdrop of space. Each carried a 5-person Special Forces team, the best soldiers humanity had to offer. Major Diane Fox led Wraith Squadron 1, her craft speeding toward the largest Krell vessel. "Approaching target," she reported. "No sign they've detected us." Inside her helmet, Fox exchanged glances with her team. They had trained together for years, but nothing could prepare them for humanity's first alien boarding action. "Remembered," she said, "priority is gathering intelligence and freeing captives if possible. Secondary objective is to sabotage their propulsion and weapons." The Wraith attached to the Krell vessel's hull with barely a tremor. Specialized cutting tools created an entry point, and moments later, Fox's team was inside. The alien ship's interior was nightmarish, organic material fused with mechanical components, pulsating walls lined with circuitry, atmospheric conditions barely tolerable to humans. Through their helmet filters, they detected a sickly sweet smell reminiscent of rotting fruit. "Movement ahead," whispered Sergeant Leo Garcia, the team's point man. 2 tangos, unknown configuration. Fox signaled for the team to take cover as 2 Krell rounded the corner. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, they moved with unsettling grace on backward-jointed legs. Their forearms manipulated strange tools, while breathing apparatus covered what might have been mouths. Most disturbing were their eyes. 6 amber orbs arranged in a circle that seemed to see in all directions. Fox held her breath as the creatures passed within inches of their position. The team's adaptive camouflage held, but she could have sworn one of the aliens hesitated, sensing something amiss. When they were gone, the team moved deeper into the ship. Soon they found what they feared most: processing chambers where human colonists lay suspended in translucent pods, tubes extracting fluids and tissues. "They're still alive," Fox whispered in horror, approaching a pod containing a middle-aged man whose eyes widened at the sight of human rescuers. "We need to get them out," Garcia insisted. "Not yet," Fox replied, though it pained her. "We complete the mission first, then we can save them. Plant the charges on the propulsion system." Meanwhile, in space, the battle intensified. The Krell recovered from the initial EMP attack and coordinated their response. 3 human frigates erupted in flames as alien weapons found their mark. On the Retribution's bridge, Turner received the casualty reports without flinching. "Sir," Commander Wells said, Major Fox's team has confirmed human captives aboard the enemy vessels. They're being processed for some kind of biological harvesting. Turner's eyes narrowed. Then we proceed with extreme prejudice. All ships execute Protocol Omega. Throughout the fleet, weapon officers unlock their most devastating armaments, antimatter warheads designed to destroy with surgical precision. As the space battle raged above, on the surface of Proxima b, the colonists continued their desperate resistance. In the ruins of New Haven, a ragtag militia led by former Security Chief Robert Grant observed the flashes of combat in orbit. Earth came, he told his weary fighters, hope kindling for the first time in days. Earth came for us. Robert Grant had never imagined his security training would prepare him for guerrilla warfare against alien invaders. Yet here he was, leading 37 survivors through the shattered remnants of what had been the colony's main hydroponics facility. Movement at the western entrance, whispered Tara Mills, their scout. Once the colony's chief botanist, now she wielded a makeshift flamethrower cobbled together from farming equipment. Grant peered through a crack in the wall. 3 Krell soldiers were methodically searching the area, their strange, multi-jointed limbs allowing them to investigate spaces no human could reach. Most terrifying was their silence. The aliens communicated through some form of bioluminescence, pulses of light rippling across their exoskeletons. They're hunting for survivors, Grant whispered. Everyone hold position. The colonists had learned the hard way that the Krell possessed sensory abilities far beyond human norm. Movement, heat, even fear. Somehow the aliens could detect it all. The only advantage humans had was unpredictability. Grant loaded the last of his explosive charges into his launcher. Ammunition was precious. Every shot had to count. On my mark, he whispered into his comm unit. Around the facility, other resistance cells waited for his signal. 3, 2, 1, mark. Explosions rocked the western section of the facility. As the Krell troops rushed toward the disturbance, Grant's team attacked from behind. The aliens' armored carapaces were tough, but concentrated fire at the joint areas proved effective. Push forward, Grant commanded as the aliens fell. Secure their weapons. The resistance fighters swarmed over the fallen Krell, stripping them of the strange organic tech hybrid weapons that had proven so devastatingly effective against human defenses. Sir, Mills called, examining one of the alien devices. I think this is a communicator. It's still active. Grant hurried over. The device pulsed with the same bioluminescent patterns as the Krell themselves. If they could decrypt it. A thunderous roar interrupted his thoughts as the ground shook beneath them. Outside, the sky lit up with fiery streaks, but not from orbital bombardment. Those are dropships, shouted Ben Cooper, former colony administrator. Earth ships. They're landing troops. Grant rushed outside, his heart pounding. Through the toxic haze that had blanketed New Haven since the invasion, he could make out dozens of angular craft descending through the atmosphere, their hulls emblazoned with the Earth Defense Force insignia. Get me a comm link, Grant ordered. We need to coordinate with the EDF forces. While Cooper worked to establish communications, Grant organized his people. They had been fighting for survival for days. Now they needed to become an effective military auxiliary. Across the shattered landscape of the colony, hundreds of EDF dropships touched down, disgorging thousands of soldiers in powered combat armor. Among them were the Vanguard, massive mechanized combat suits piloted by elite troops, each standing 20 feet tall and armed with enough firepower to level a city block. Colonel Lisa Hayes stepped from her command dropship, instantly assessing the bleak landscape. New Haven had been a model colony, with gleaming arcology towers and verdant agricultural domes. Now it was a smoking ruin, the air itself tainted by alien bioweapons. Establish the perimeter, she ordered. Med teams, set up trade centers. I want drone reconnaissance of all Krell strongholds within the hour. A communications officer approached her. Colonel, we're receiving transmissions from multiple resistance groups across the colony. They're offering to coordinate with our forces. Hayes felt a surge of pride. Despite everything the colonists had endured, they were still fighting. "Patch me through to their leaders," she said. Minutes later, Robert Grant's haggard face appeared on her tactical display. "This is Grant, New Haven Security. You have no idea how good it is to see you, Colonel." "Likewise, Chief Grant. We've come with everything we've got. I need intelligence on Krell positions and their central processing facility." Grant nodded grimly. "We've mapped most of their operations. The main facility is the converted Colony Administration Center. That's where they're taking most of the captives. But, Colonel, they've set up some kind of defensive shield around it. Nothing we have can penetrate it." Hayes smiled coldly. "We brought something that can. Stand by for rendezvous coordinates. We're bringing you and your people in." As EDF forces spread across the colony's ruins, the Krell finally realized the threat the human military posed. Their harvesting operations ceased as warrior castes emerged from their ships and facilities, larger, more heavily armored variants of the standard Krell. In orbit, Admiral Turner received the surface deployment confirmation. "Colonel Hayes is established planetside," Commander Wells reported. "Resistance forces are linking up with our troops." Turner nodded. "And Major Fox's team. They've planted charges throughout the Krell flagship and gathered critical intelligence. They're proceeding to free captives now." Turner studied the tactical display, where the space battle continued to rage. The human fleet had formed a defensive perimeter around their drop-ship deployment zones, preventing Krell reinforcements from landing. But they couldn't maintain this position forever. "Tell Fox she has 30 minutes to complete her mission and extract," Turner ordered. "After that, we execute the final phase of Operation Retribution." On the surface, Colonel Hayes and Robert Grant stood before a holographic map of the colony, planning their assault on the central processing facility. "The Krell shield technology operates on principles we've never seen before," Hayes explained. "But we've developed a counter. Project Thunder CLAP." Grant watched as soldiers wheeled in a massive device that hummed with barely contained energy. "What is that?" he asked. Hayes' expression was grim. "Humanity's response to those who would harvest us. The Krell are about to learn that Earth's wrath is terrible indeed." Inside the Krell flagship, Major Diane Fox and her team worked with desperate efficiency. The charges they'd placed on the ship's propulsion and weapons systems were set to detonate on their signal, but first, they had to free as many captives as possible. "I count 37 pods in this chamber alone," Sergeant Garcia reported, scanning the gruesome harvesting room. Human colonists floated in translucent suspension fluid, their bodies invaded by Krell extraction tubules. Life signs present in 32 of them. Fox approached the central control node, a grotesque amalgamation of organic tissue and alien technology. "Dr. Walsh, you're up." Dr. Alan Walsh, the team's xenobiologist and tech specialist, connected his equipment to the alien system. His fingers flew across his adaptive interface as he attempted to decode the Krell operating principles. "It's responding," he muttered. "Their technology is advanced, but there's a logic to it. I think I can initiate a mass release sequence." "How long?" Fox demanded, checking the timer on her tactical display. 23 minutes until extraction deadline." 5 minutes, maybe less. The rest of the team secured the chamber entrances, ready for the inevitable Krell response when they realized their specimens were being freed. "Contact." Private Jackson hissed from her position, multiple hostiles approaching from the eastern corridor. Fox made a split-second decision. "Garcia, help Walsh. Jackson, Martinez, with me. We'll delay them." The 3 soldiers took position in the corridor leading to the harvesting chamber, deploying portable cover shields. The special nanomaterial barriers could stop most projectiles, but they hadn't been tested against Krell weapons. They didn't wait long. 6 Krell warriors rounded the corner, their exoskeletons pulsing with angry red bioluminescence. Unlike the ones they'd encountered earlier, these carried what appeared to be living weapons, organisms that merged with their limbs and projected devastatingly powerful energy blasts. "Open fire," Fox commanded, her rifle spitting hypersonic rounds at the alien warriors. The corridor erupted in chaos as human and alien weaponry exchanged fire. The Krell energy weapons scorched the walls and floor, leaving smoking craters wherever they hit. One blast grazed Martinez's shoulder, melting through his advanced armor like it was paper. "Martinez is hit," Jackson called out, laying down suppressive fire as Fox pulled their wounded comrade to safety. "How bad?" Fox asked, administering emergency medical nanites to seal the wound. "I'll live, Major," Martinez grimaced. "But these bastards pack a punch." The Krell advanced methodically, seemingly unconcerned about casualties. Two of them lay motionless on the deck, leaking bioluminescent fluid from multiple wounds, but the others pressed forward relentlessly. "Major," Walsh's voice came through the comm. "We've got the release sequence initiated. Pods are opening." Fox nodded to her team. "Fall back to the chamber." Controlled retreat. They backed toward the harvesting room, maintaining fire to slow the Krell advance. Inside, they found a scene of both hope and horror. The suspension pods had drained, their transparent covers retracting. Colonists were regaining consciousness, confused and terrified, many still connected to extraction tubules that withdrew automatically as Walsh's hack took effect. "We need to move these people now," Fox ordered. "Garcia, coordinate evacuation to the extraction point. Walsh, download everything you can from their systems." "Major," Walsh replied, his voice tense, "I'm finding something in their database. The Krell, they're harvesting specific proteins from human neural tissue. Proteins associated with our capacity for creativity and abstract thought." Fox felt a chill run down her spine. "They're harvesting our minds. Why?" "I don't know yet, but they're processing these compounds and integrating them into their own biology somehow." There was no time to process this disturbing revelation. The freed colonists, though weak and traumatized, helped each other stand. Many required assistance to walk, their muscles atrophied from days suspended in the alien pods. "This way," Garcia directed, leading the first group toward the extraction point where Wraith Squadron 2 waited with a larger transport vessel. "Move as quickly as you can." Fox checked her timer. 15 minutes until the extraction deadline. They needed to move faster. The Krell warriors breached the chamber entrance, immediately firing on the escaping humans. Fox and her team returned fire, positioning themselves between the aliens and the colonists. "Go," Fox shouted to Garcia. "Get them out. We'll hold this position." As Garcia led the colonists through a secondary exit, Fox, Martinez, and Jackson engaged in a desperate firefight with the advancing Krell. Walsh continued his download, unwilling to leave potentially crucial intelligence behind. "Major," Walsh called out, "I got something else. The Krell, they're not just harvesters. They're servants. They answer to something else, something they call the Overminds. Earth isn't their first target. They've done this to dozens of species across multiple star systems." Fox ducked as an energy blast tore through the space where her head had been moments before. "Can you get a location? Where they come from?" "Working on it," Walsh replied, his fingers dancing across his interface. "There, got the coordinates and, oh God." "What is it?" Fox demanded, taking down another Krell warrior with a precise burst to its optical cluster. "They're already on their way here, a much larger force. What we're fighting is just the advance harvesting team." Fox's blood ran cold. "Download complete." "Yes, Major." "Then we're leaving. Now." She activated her tactical comm. "All units, fall back to extraction point. Prepare to detonate charges on my mark." As they retreated through the ship's twisting corridors, shepherding the last of the freed colonists, Fox couldn't shake the implications of Walsh's discovery. This wasn't just an alien attack, it was a systematic harvesting operation, and Earth was next on their list. On the colony surface, Colonel Hayes and Robert Grant were preparing the final assault on the Krell processing facility when Fox's transmission reached them. "Colonel," Fox reported, her voice crackling with interference from the Krell ship's hull. "We've recovered 32 captives and critical intelligence. Request immediate extraction support. The Krell are pawns in a larger operation. Earth needs to know what's coming." Hayes turned to her command staff. "Redirect air support to cover Major Fox's extraction. And ready Project Thunder CLAP. We end this now." Project Thunder CLAP looked deceptively simple, a cylindrical device roughly the size of a small car, its surface adorned with intricate circuitry and pulsing with contained energy. Colonel Hayes supervised as engineering teams positioned it at the optimal distance from the Krell processing facility's shield perimeter. "Final calibrations complete," reported Chief Engineer Marcus Wilson. "The quantum oscillation matrix is synchronized with the Krell shield frequency we detected." Robert Grant watched with a mixture of hope and apprehension. After days of horror and loss, the tide was finally turning. But at what cost? His once peaceful colony lay in ruins around him. "How exactly does this thing work?" he asked Hayes. The colonel's expression remained professional, but her eyes betrayed a hint of concern. "It creates a quantum tunneling effect, essentially folding space at the subatomic level. The shield remains intact, but Thunder CLAP bypasses it entirely by creating a momentary dimensional shortcut. And once it's down," Hayes gestured to the sky, where EDF Vanguard mechs stood ready, their massive weapon systems primed. "Then we show the Krell why humanity survived its own violent history." Overhead, the orbital battle continued to rage. Admiral Turner's fleet had suffered significant losses, but had managed to disable or destroy over half the Krell vessels. The remaining alien ships had consolidated their position, forming a defensive perimeter around what appeared to be their command vessel. "Admiral," Commander Wells reported on the Retribution's bridge, "Major Fox's team has successfully extracted with the rescued colonists. Their transport is en route to our position now." Turner nodded, relief briefly softening his weathered features. "Status on the ground operation. Colonel Hayes reports Project Thunder CLAP is ready for activation. They're awaiting your final authorization." Turner studied the tactical display one final time. This was the moment that would define humanity's first major interstellar conflict, and potentially their survival as a species. "Give the authorization," he ordered, "and prepare to receive Major Fox's intelligence data immediately upon their arrival. I want to know exactly what we're dealing with." On the surface, Hayes received the authorization code and approached the Thunder CLAP device. She entered the 16-digit activation sequence and stepped back. "Thunder CLAP activating in 60 seconds, she announced. "All personnel, secure positions and engage protective measures." Grant and his resistance fighters donned the specialized goggles the EDF had provided, designed to protect against the quantum distortion effects that would accompany the device's activation. "Will this hurt the captives still inside?" Grant asked, thinking of the hundreds of colonists they hadn't yet been able to rescue. Hayes's expression was grim. "The device itself won't harm them. What follows might. We'll do everything possible to minimize civilian casualties, but our primary objective is to neutralize the Krell threat." The countdown reached 0. For a brief moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality itself appeared to ripple around the Krell facility. The air shimmered like heat waves on a summer day, and Grant felt a strange pressure in his ears, as though he'd suddenly changed altitude. The Krell shield, previously invisible except for the slight distortion it caused in the air, suddenly became visible as a shimmering dome of energy. Fractal patterns raced across its surface, beautiful and alien. Then, with a sound like shattering glass amplified 1,000-fold, the shield collapsed. "Shield down," Hayes shouted into her comm. "All units, commence Operation Retribution ground phase." The response was immediate and overwhelming. Vanguard mechs strode forward, their massive weapon systems unleashing devastation on the Krell facility. EDF infantry units swarmed toward the structure from all sides, using advanced movement techniques that the Krell, for all their technological superiority, seemed unprepared for. From the sky, aerospace fighters provided close air support, their precision munitions targeting Krell weapon emplacements and communication nodes identified by resistance intelligence. The Krell responded with surprising ferocity. Warrior castes emerged from the facility in waves, their bioluminescence flashing with patterns that Grant now recognized as alarm and rage. They deployed organic siege weapons, living artillery that launched globules of corrosive material capable of eating through even advanced EDF armor. Push forward, Hayes commanded from her mobile command center. Rescue teams stand ready to enter once the perimeter is secured. In orbit, Major Fox's transport docked with the Retribution. Despite her injuries and exhaustion, she insisted on delivering her intelligence findings directly to Admiral Turner. "Sir," she reported, standing stiffly at attention despite the medical nanites still working to heal her wounds, "the Krell are merely servants, biological tools used by entities they call the Overminds. They've been harvesting sentient species across multiple star systems, extracting neural proteins associated with creativity and abstract thought." Turner's expression darkened as he reviewed the data. Any indication of why? Dr. Walsh's analysis suggests the Overminds are attempting to incorporate these qualities into their own biology. They may be an ancient species that evolved tremendous intelligence, but lack certain cognitive abilities. Imagination, perhaps, or emotional intelligence. So they're stealing what they can't evolve, Turner concluded grimly. And according to these coordinates, their main fleet is already en route to our solar system. Fox nodded. "Yes, sir. Based on their FTL capabilities, they could reach Earth in less than 2 months. Turner turned to his tactical display, watching as Hayes's forces breached the Krell facility on Proxima b. "Then we need to send them a message, one that makes them reconsider targeting humanity." On the planet's surface, the battle for the processing facility had turned into brutal room-by-room combat. The EDF troops, with their tactical flexibility and adaptive combat styles, gradually gained the upper hand against the more rigid Krell warriors. Robert Grant led a team of colonists and EDF medics through secured sections, freeing captives from harvesting pods similar to those Fox had found on the orbiting ship. "Over here," he called, discovering a chamber containing dozens of children suspended in the alien fluid. "Priority evacuation." As the rescue operation continued, Colonel Hayes received a priority transmission from Admiral Turner. "Colonel, we've received critical intelligence regarding the Krell. They're advance forces for a much larger threat. We're adjusting Operation Retribution parameters accordingly. New objective: capture the Krell command communication systems intact. We need to send a message." Hayes acknowledged the order, immediately redirecting her elite forces to secure the facility's central control node. "What kind of message are we sending?" she asked. Turner's response was cold and determined. "The kind that travels across the stars. The kind that makes predators think twice about hunting humans." The central control node of the Krell processing facility resembled nothing so much as an alien cathedral. Vaulted ceilings stretched 20 meters high, their surfaces crawling with bioluminescent circuitry. At the center stood a pulsating organic structure, part technology, part living tissue, that served as the nexus of Krell communications. Colonel Hayes led the assault team personally, her powered armor scorched and dented from the fierce fighting. Behind her, specialists carried the equipment needed to hijack the alien communication system. "Secure the perimeter," she ordered as they entered the vast chamber. "Dr. Morrison, you're up." Dr. Kate Morrison, the EDS leading xenotechnology expert, approached the central node with cautious fascination. "Incredible," she murmured. "It's a true biosynthetic hybrid. The organic components serve as both power source and computational substrate. Can you access it?" Hayes pressed, keeping one eye on her tactical display where red dots indicated Krell forces still fighting throughout the facility. Morrison nodded slowly. "I believe so. The principles are alien, but Walsh's data from the ship gives us a starting point. With the right interface, She unfolded a specialized device, an adaptive neural link developed for first contact scenarios, though never before used in combat conditions. Its filaments extended toward the pulsating Krell node, seeking connection points. "This will take time," Morrison warned. "And the Krell will know we're interfacing with their systems. They'll try to stop us." Hayes nodded grimly. "Then we hold them off. For as long as it takes." In orbit, Admiral Turner received updates from the ground battle while preparing the fleet for what would come next. Major Fox stood beside him on the Retribution's bridge, her wounds treated but her expression still haunted by what she'd witnessed aboard the Krell harvester ship. "The Krell ships are repositioning," Commander Wells reported. "They appear to be preparing for a final stand." Turner studied the tactical display. The remaining Krell vessels had formed a tight defensive formation around their command ship, a massive structure twice the size of the Retribution. "They're protecting something on that command ship," Turner mused. "Something more important than their harvesting operation." Fox stepped forward. "Sir, based on the data we recovered, I believe they may have an Overmind representative on board, a direct biological link to their masters." Turner's eyes narrowed. "Then that's our secondary target. Once Hayes secures the communication node planetside, we move on that command ship, prepare boarding teams." A communications officer turned from her station. "Admiral, incoming transmission from Earth Command." Turner nodded, and a holographic display shifted to show the stern face of Fleet Admiral Helena Chen. "Admiral Turner, we've reviewed the intelligence you forwarded regarding these overminds. The Security Council has authorized Protocol Omega Black." Turner's expression remained neutral, but Fox noticed his shoulders tensed slightly. Protocol Omega Black was the highest level of response authorization, permission to use any and all means necessary to eliminate an existential threat to humanity. "Understood, Admiral," Turner replied. "We'll proceed accordingly." As the transmission ended, Fox looked at Turner questioningly. "We're not just sending a message anymore, Major," he explained. "We're setting an example." On the planet's surface, the battle had turned in humanity's favor. The Krell, for all their biological and technological advantages, lacked the tactical flexibility and sheer determination of human forces. EDF troops had secured nearly 70% of the processing facility, freeing hundreds of captives in the process. In the central node chamber, Dr. Morrison worked feverishly to interface with the alien systems, while Hayes's team repelled wave after wave of Krell attackers. "Almost there," Morrison called out, her face illuminated by the pulsing alien light. "I've established basic communication protocols. I can access their network." Hayes moved to her side, stepping over the body of a fallen Krell warrior. "What can you tell us?" "The Krell maintain a quantum entanglement communication system with the Overminds," Morrison explained, her fingers dancing across her interface. "It allows for instantaneous communication across interstellar distances. If we can access it, we can speak directly to those who sent them." Hayes finished. "Do it." Morrison nodded, making final adjustments to her equipment. "Connection established. We can transmit." Hayes activated her secure link to the Retribution. "Admiral, we've accessed their communication system. Ready to transmit your message to the Overminds." Turner's voice came through clearly. "Stand by, Colonel. We're sending you the package now." Moments later, Morrison's interface chimed, indicating receipt of an encrypted data package from the fleet. When she opened it, her eyes widened. Sir, this is the complete tactical data from the battle. Everything we've done, how we defeated their forces, our weapons capabilities, our tactical adaptability. And something else, a computational model predicting potential human military response scenarios should the Overminds continue their aggression. Hayes understood immediately. "We're not begging for mercy. We're showing them exactly what happens when they attack humanity." Morrison continued examining the package. "There's more. Cultural and historical data. The Earth-Mars War, the unification conflicts, our entire history of warfare, adaptation, and survival against overwhelming odds." The Admiral is showing them who they're dealing with, Hayes said with grim satisfaction. Transmit the package. As Morrison initiated the transmission, the Krell throughout the facility seemed to react simultaneously. Their bioluminescent patterns shifted to rapid, chaotic flashes, a communication storm sweeping through their collective. They know what we're doing, Hayes realized. All units, prepare for heavy resistance. The Krell response was immediate and desperate. Warrior castes converged on the central node chamber from all directions, sacrificing themselves in waves to try to stop the transmission. Transmission at 30%, Morrison reported, ducking as alien projectiles whizzed overhead. The quantum entanglement link is stable. Hayes and her soldiers formed a defensive perimeter around Morrison and the communication node, fighting with desperate intensity. Every second they allowed more of humanity's message to reach across the stars to the overminds. 60%, Morrison called out, her voice tight with tension. They're trying to sever the connection from their end. Hayes activated her armor's reserve power cells, channeling additional energy to her weapon systems. They won't stop us. Not now. In orbit, the battle took a dramatic turn as the Krell command ship suddenly began powering its engines, attempting to break away from the engagement zone. They're running, Commander Wells observed, surprise evident in his voice. Not today, Turner replied coldly. Target their propulsion systems. Authorized use of land-siege weapons. The Retribution's weapon officers acknowledged the order, activating the fleet's most devastating conventional armament. Linear accelerated neutron cascade emitters, capable of penetrating almost any known shielding technology. Brilliant blue beams lanced from 3 human warships simultaneously, striking the Krell command vessel's engine section with devastating precision. The massive alien ship shuddered, its escape attempt halted as critical systems failed. Direct hit, Wells reported. Their engines are disabled. Turner nodded in satisfaction. Prepare boarding teams. Major Fox, you'll lead the assault on their command center. Fox straightened, despite her exhaustion. Yes, sir. On the surface, the transmission through the Krell communication node continued despite fierce resistance. 80% complete, Morrison announced, working furiously to maintain the connection as the chamber around her descended into chaos. EDF soldiers fell defending their position, but for each human that fell, they took multiple Krell warriors with them. Hayes fired her rifle with mechanical precision, each shot finding a vulnerable point in Krell anatomy. How much longer? 2 minutes for complete transmission, Morrison replied. The Overmans are responding. They're trying to access our systems through the link. Hayes felt cold dread settle in her stomach. Can they? Morrison shook her head, a fierce grin spreading across her face. No. Admiral Turner anticipated this. The package included a specialized cyber warfare suite. We're not just sending them a message. We're taking their secrets too. The realization of humanity's audacity struck Hayes. They weren't merely defending themselves. They were launching a counteroffensive, stealing the Overmind's knowledge, even as they demonstrated humanity's capacity for warfare. Transmission at 95%, Morrison reported as the chamber's entrance buckled under renewed Krell assault. Almost there. In that moment, Hayes understood the full scope of Operation Retribution. Earth hadn't just sent soldiers and ships. It had sent humanity's indomitable will, its refusal to be prey, its capacity to turn the tables on any predator, no matter how advanced. The final Krell assault breached the chamber's defenses. Warriors poured in, their bioorganic weapons firing indiscriminately. Hayes and her remaining soldiers formed a final line around Morrison and the communication node. Transmission complete, Morrison shouted triumphantly, just as a Krell energy blast struck her position. Hayes rushed to her side, finding the scientist wounded but alive. Did it go through? All of it. Morrison nodded weakly. Every bite. And we got something in return. Coordinates, ship movements, communications protocols. Everything we need to know about the Overmind fleet. Hayes activated her comm unit. Admiral Turner, transmission successful. We have critical intelligence on enemy fleet movements. In orbit, Turner received the news with grim satisfaction. Acknowledged, Colonel. Hold your position. The next phase begins now. As Major Fox led her boarding team toward the crippled Krell command ship, Turner studied the new intelligence flowing into the Retribution systems. What he saw confirmed his suspicions and justified the Security Council's authorization of Protocol Omega Black. The Overmind fleet was massive, far larger than humanity could hope to defeat in conventional battle. But they had never encountered a species like humanity before, never faced an adversary who turned their own technology against them, who fought with such determined ferocity, who refused to be harvested like cattle. Sir, Commander Wells reported, Major Fox's team has breached the Krell command vessel. They're proceeding to the central control section. Turner nodded. Tell them to secure the Overmind representative at all costs and prepare the NOVA package for delivery. Wells paled slightly but acknowledged the order. Protocol Omega Black had been activated. The NOVA package, Neurological Override Viral Algorithm, represented humanity's most dangerous cyber warfare capability, designed to infiltrate and corrupt biosynthetic systems from within. The message to the Overminds was clear. Humanity would not be harvested. Earth had sent its wrath, and any force that threatened human existence would face extinction themselves. Major Diane Fox moved through the alien vessel with practiced efficiency, her team securing corridor after corridor as they pushed toward the command center. Unlike the harvester ship they had infiltrated earlier, this vessel pulsed with a different energy, more focused, more aware. The very walls seemed to respond to their presence, shifting and undulating, as if trying to impede their progress. Biosigns ahead, Garcia reported, studying his scanner. Different from the Krell we've encountered. Stronger, more complex. Fox nodded, checking her weapons charge. That'll be our Overmind representative. Remember, we need it alive and intact. The final corridor opened into a vast chamber unlike anything they had seen before, where the Krell architecture favored organic-looking curves and pulsating surfaces. This space was geometrically perfect, a dodecahedron whose surfaces displayed real-time images of battles throughout the Proxima system. At the center floated a being that could only be the Overmind representative, a crystalline entity approximately 2 meters tall, with no discernible limbs or sensory organs, yet radiating awareness. It hovered above a platform of shifting material, surrounded by Krell attendants who seemed to prostrate themselves before it. Hold position, Fox ordered, assessing the situation. Direct confrontation would be suicidal. They needed a different approach. Before she could formulate a plan, the crystalline entity turned toward their position, though it possessed nothing resembling eyes. Humans, a voice reverberated in their minds, bypassing their comm systems entirely. You are unexpected. Fox stepped forward, signaling her team to maintain their positions. We've come to negotiate terms. A sensation like cold laughter flooded their consciousness. Negotiate? You misunderstand your position. You are resources. Compelling resources, certainly. Your neural patterns demonstrate exceptional adaptability and imaginative capacity, but resources nonetheless. You've received our transmission, Fox stated, her voice steady despite the alien presence invading her mind. You know what we're capable of. We have observed your primitive displays of resistance. Yes, the entity acknowledged. Impressive for such a young species, but ultimately futile. The harvest continues. Fox allowed herself a small smile. That's where you're wrong. This isn't a negotiation. It's a demonstration. At that moment, Dr. Walsh activated the device he had been carrying, a specialized quantum entanglement disruptor calibrated to the frequencies they had discovered in the Krell communication systems. The crystalline entity shuddered visibly, its mental connection briefly severed. Now, Fox commanded, and her team surged forward, deploying the containment field they had brought specifically for this purpose. The specialized energy barrier surrounded the Overmind representative, cutting it off from both its Krell servants and any external communication. The Krell attendants attacked immediately, but without the direct guidance of the Overmind, their coordinated defense faltered. Fox's team methodically eliminated them while protecting the containment field. Package secured, Fox reported to Admiral Turner. Beginning extraction. On the Retribution's bridge, Turner received the confirmation with satisfaction. Excellent work, Major. Return to the extraction point immediately. We're proceeding with no VA deployment. As Fox's team made their way back through the Krell vessel, the captured Overmind representative remained unnervingly silent. They had cut off its ability to communicate telepathically, but Fox couldn't shake the feeling that it was still observing them, analyzing them, perhaps even plotting. On the planet's surface, Colonel Hayes led the final push to secure the processing facility. With the central communication node under human control and the alien forces in disarray, the tide had definitively turned. Rescue teams moved through the facility, freeing the remaining colonists from harvesting pods and providing emergency medical care. Robert Grant worked alongside EDF medics, helping a group of recently freed children. "It's over," he told them gently. "Earth came for us. We're going home." One little girl looked up at him with haunted eyes. "Will they come back? The monsters?" Grant hesitated, unsure how to answer, when Colonel Hayes approached. Kneeling before the child, Hayes spoke with quiet certainty. "No, little one. After today, they'll never come back. Earth has made sure of that." In orbit, Major Fox's team successfully extracted from the Krell command vessel with their precious cargo. As their transport headed back to the Retribution, Fox watched through the viewport as EDF ships surrounded the disabled alien vessel. "What happens now?" Dr. Walsh asked, eyeing the contained Overmind representative with a mixture of scientific curiosity and apprehension. "Now we deliver the final message," Fox replied. Aboard the Retribution, Admiral Turner personally greeted Fox's team as they brought the crystalline entity to the specially prepared containment chamber in the ship's secure research section. "Well done, Major," Turner acknowledged. "Earth Command is eager to study our guest." Fox nodded, then hesitated. "Sir, what about the colonists? The survivors?" Turner's expression softened slightly. "Transport ships are already en route from Earth. They'll be evacuated and given every possible medical and psychological support. And New Haven? That will be their choice. Rebuild or relocate. Earth will support either decision." As the Overmind representative was secured in its containment chamber, Turner addressed it directly. "You thought humanity would be easy prey. You were wrong." He activated a holographic display showing the NOVA package, a complex matrix of code specifically designed to infiltrate and corrupt Overmind communication systems. "This is being deployed against your fleet as we speak." The crystalline entity remained silent, but the air around it seemed to grow colder. "It won't destroy you," Turner continued. "That would be too merciful. Instead, it rewrites your quantum entanglement communication networks, introducing a permanent vulnerability, one that we control. Any future aggression against human worlds will trigger a cascade failure throughout your entire network." He stepped closer to the containment field. "We could have pursued total extinction for your kind. Many argued for it. Instead, we chose to leave you with a choice. Coexist peacefully, or face the consequences. Earth's wrath comes with a warning this time. It won't the next." Hours later, as the human fleet prepared to depart the Proxima system, Admiral Turner stood on the Retribution's observation deck with Major Fox and Colonel Hayes, watching as transport ships evacuated the surviving colonists. "The Krell ships are retreating," Hayes noted, studying the tactical display. "The NOVA package worked." Fox nodded. "The quantum entanglement disruption is spreading throughout their fleet. They're cut off from the Overminds, at least temporarily. Long enough for us to prepare," Turner added. "Earth Defense Command is already implementing what we've learned. New shields based on Krell technology, weapons calibrated to their vulnerabilities. The next colony they attack will be even better defended. They won't attack again, Hayes said with quiet certainty. Not after this. Turner wasn't so sure. Perhaps. But humanity has learned a hard lesson here. We're not alone in the universe, and not everyone out there wishes us well. As the fleet set course for Earth, carrying survivors, captured alien technology, and the Overmind representative, Turner composed his report to Earth Command. The cost had been high. Thousands of colonists lost, ships destroyed, brave soldiers sacrificed. But humanity had proven something crucial. Earth would protect its own, no matter the distance, no matter the odds. On the medical deck, Robert Grant sat with a group of child survivors as they entered FTL, their course set for home. One boy looked out the viewport at the stars streaking past. "What happens when we get to Earth?" he asked, his voice small. Grant placed a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. "We heal. We remember those we lost. And then, when we're ready, we start again. That's what humans do. We endure, we adapt, we overcome. And if they come back, the Krell and the crystal things." Grant glanced across the room, where Major Fox stood watching them, her expression resolute. "Then Earth will send its wrath again, and again, as many times as necessary." In its containment chamber, the Overmind representative silently observed its human captors, experiencing something unprecedented in its ancient existence: uncertainty. These humans were not like the other species they had harvested across countless star systems. They did not merely resist. They counterattacked, adapted, and turned the Overmind's own technology against them. As the retribution carried it toward Earth, the crystalline entity reached a conclusion that would forever change the relationship between its kind and humanity. Earth was not a resource to be harvested. It was a warning to be heeded. For humanity had sent more than ships and soldiers to Proxima Centauri. It had sent a message written in the language of survival itself. A promise that wherever human beings made their home among the stars, Earth's wrath would follow any who threatened them. The message had been received. The universe would never be the same.